The tumultuous post-Idi Amin governments were marked with detentions without trial, political assassinations, and schemes to ascend the greasy pole of leadership.
We were mistreated a lot. They came to our house, they vandalized the house, and yet we were very peaceful citizens.
Sam Njuba, who was then the chairman of the Uganda Law Society, was arrested during the Godfrey Binaisa government for comparing the regime to Idi Amin's tyrant government.
My husband was imprisoned a number of times, twice during UNLF, once during Amin.
However, on the pleas of Yoweri Museveni, the deputy chairman of the military commission, he was set free.
One young soldier, unfortunately I never got to know his name, advised me to go and see Museveni. I was a bit skeptical because Museveni was part of that government. But I still remember how that man put it. He said, Museveni works with them, but he's not with them.
These events would later on thrust Njuba's family into the crosshairs of a conflict which played out in the treacherous jungles of Luwero.
My husband was imprisoned a number of times, twice during UNLF, once during Amin. So in my mind, I thought if another group turns up which wants to remove this government, I'll join them.
The 70-year-old Gertrude Njuba is the widow to fallen iconic Forum for Democratic Change national chairman Sam Njuba, and both were part of the NRA liberation struggle.
Museveni sent Njuba and myself to Nairobi to mobilize some of our people who had run to Nairobi, tell them to come back. We had to do something about it. Running is not an option.
The two would have clocked 50 years in marriage in September this year. As a young woman, Gertrude shunned politics. Though she had met Museveni to plead for her husband's release, she was not endeared to his brand of Marxist politics.
He asked me whether I would join them. He told me we have a new party. We have developed, put up a new party. Would you like to join us? And I told him, no, I don't think I will join you because I don't want to join communists. That was my answer, and it was an honest answer.
But prompted by the injustices prevailing, Gertrude joined Museveni's budding Uganda patriotic movement and later on became a link between civilians and the charismatic Museveni to recruit rebel fighters.
Mobilize the funds, medicine, mobilize young people who want to go to the bush. That was my first role, especially medicine and taking soldiers to the bush, those who want to defect from the army. I did a lot of that also.
A daughter to the late Bishop Yokana Mukasa, Njuba slipped away into the jungles without her father's knowledge.
He didn't know when I was leaving. If he had known, I'm sure he would have said no, because it was very dangerous. He supported the struggle. But you know, it's one thing supporting the struggle, it's another allowing your daughter to go.
Because she had suffered a polio infection at a young age, she could only play a restricted role during the war. Amongst the few women in the struggle, Njuba was tasked with recruiting rebel fighters.
It would depend on where we are going to pick the soldier. Let's say I'm picking a soldier. We would talk and we agree that I'm going to pick you in such and such a place. He wouldn't be in uniform, of course. He would be an ordinary person.
She was later appointed as senior principal aide to Museveni, but her role in the Luwero trenches put her life in harm's way. She was caught ferrying guns, but she luckily escaped arrest.
We meet this roadblock, which we never expected. And the soldier asks, the policeman asks, kuna nini kwa boat mzee? Then Charigonza said, kuna silaha bwana. No sane person would say that. So the policeman laughed, and we laughed, and he said, okay, go.
War is not a cup of tea. She recalls making the journey across rivers naked, a routine which brought her shame before her juniors.
When you are going to cross Mayanja, because Mayanja is the biggest river there you are moving from, we crossed Mayanja several times. but you do undress. Choose either you walk in that part and go on the other side and have a dry dress, or you go through the water and continue in a wet dress.
Unlike other rebel fighters, Njuba was never jailed, but she recalls being summoned for crying, an abomination which could get you expelled.
And we had to go to court for crying. That we were leaders in the army. The fact that we were crying means things are failing.
She recalls the strict code of discipline where relationships were restricted. However, a few senior NRA leaders had wives, a decision which David Tinyefuza contested, earning him a date in jail.
Even when we made those rules in the NRC, the rules were immediately broken by the members of the NRC themselves.
Njuba says this caused a rift within the rebel ranks.
Until we looked at it and realized you cannot legislate against natural problems. You can only legislate against social problems.
After the Bush War ended, she became the Deputy Minister for Industry in Museveni's first cabinet. Njuba currently serves as a State House Director on Land Matters. Ndwuchire, NTV.